Twitter here, and if I'm not sure off the top of my head how much you know about him, so if you don't know about him a ton, we can move on. But somebody asked how should the Reds be worried, I guess, or how much should the Reds be worried about Chase Petty? Do you know much about Chase Petty to answer that question, or not enough?
I don't. So I didn't have Chase. He wasn't in my draft classes, or we didn't draft. Sorry, the Reds traded for him. But he wasn't there when I was there. But I do know a decent amount about Chase, and there's some concerns. I mean, the reason you have to think about the trade ended up obviously working out for the Reds, regardless of how good Chase is going to be, because it's the Tyler Mahle trade, right?
It was Sonny Gray.
Oh, it's a Sonny Gray. Okay, yeah. That's good. Sorry, sorry. Tyler Mahle's the Encarnacion.
Spencer Steer and Strand. Yeah.
That's a good deal. Okay, well, Sonny would be a little bit different, but what you have to be worried about when you trade for someone like Chase Petty, he had just been drafted the year prior, and he was a first rounder, very well thought of. Had a pretty good year in the minor leagues, and then why is he available? Like, that is something you have to think about. And I'm not saying Nick Krall didn't think about this. Obviously he did, but like, why is Chase Petty available? Especially you didn't trade for him from the Rockies, for example. Like when we acquired Case Williams from the Rockies, when I was part of that deal, that was great because, Case was young and we ended up trading him back to the Rockies, which was kind of hilarious, but like the Rockies don't believe in data-driven player development at all. Like, that's not a controversial thing to say. We know this is true. Whether that is causing their terrible results or not is a matter of personal opinion. I have my opinion, but we know that they don't.
I agree with you on this one.
Sure, but whether it's that or not, they don't care about data-driven development. That they don't like. It's a personal thing for them, but they don't care about it. Okay, fine. So if you were to trade for Chase Petty from the Rockies, that would be very different than trading for Chase Petty from the Twins, because the Twins employ the foremost expert in pitching analysis in Josh Kalk. Like, no one knows more about pitching than Josh, period. That's me. I don't care who it is. Josh is the first person to investigate pitch effects data. Josh knows a lot. And Derek Falvey is very smart too, having come up through the Guardians. So you have to kind of wonder, why is Chase available? And then you have to analyze, like, okay, well, the Twins are making a push. They have to part with some goods to get someone as good as Sonny Gray. Fine. All probably true. It's just that Chase's pitch shapes are problematic. Like, his command is not great. So there's that. And that's evident in his walk rates. But it's not terrible either. But Chase's pitch shapes don't imply that he's going to have a lot of success at the big league level. We can be wrong. And there's a player on the Reds roster that all the models hate, and yet he gets everyone out, and that's Andrew Abbott.
I was going to say that was my
right. Guess. So that doesn't mean we're right. Like, it could be Abbott, because Abbott was also extremely good in college and was always good, So there is something about Abbott that is different that we don't understand yet to some degree. Our models say that Abbott should be pretty good, but he's way better than that. So okay, so we can be wrong, but most of the time the models are quite accurate. So there has to be a specific reason. And so in Abbott's case, the reason to believe that he's better than what the models say are, 1, he's left-handed. 2, he was the strikeout leader in Division I baseball. So like, maybe the models just aren't captured. He's demonstrated he was a college senior, right? There's like so many reasons that Abbott should or could be better than our models say. In Petty's case, he's a high school draftee with a limited pro, experience. You have to take all those into account when you're making a player decision. And then that's also when you bring in a player like Petty, you have to adjust their arsenal, And so, for example, we had to do this, not had to, but Hunter did this. Like, Hunter's fastball was very flat. Like, yes, it's 100, but like, there are issues with the fastball. There are issues with his breaking ball. It was too slow. So we sat down with Hunter, convinced him, he agreed, and made changes, and his fastball is very explosive now, and his slider is just ridiculous.
Nasty.
And it's Hunter's credit. All we did was like show him the answer key, and he's like, all right, I'll do that. It's like, that's not coaching. Like, that's just how good Hunter is. You want to talk about a guy you don't have to coach is Lodolo. Like, he's like, their feel and their ability to pitch is just like, all right, Lodolo, like, what do you think about this? Yes, no, okay, good, go out. And he's one of the best. Lodolo to me is one of the best pure pitchers in the game. Like, just to watch, whether his results, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but like, just watching him pitch, it's like that's That's what it is to be a pitcher in the game today. And so with Chase, that probably had to happen. And to my guess, based because moving on from me in a very KPI driven, a model based way, my guess is that didn't happen with Chase, is because that's not the direction the Reds wanted to go, and they went more traditional, I would say, and they cared. The one big knock on my time with the Reds in the minor leagues is our walk rate was atrocious in the minor leagues. Like, we walked a lot of dudes. I'm not going to apologize for that because, one, I said that was going to happen. Like, we're developing stuff, and then we are going to care about walk rate over time. Like, we're going to get it down and move into the zone and focus on the pitchers that can throw strikes. I'll just say that drafting Bryce Bonnin and Joe Boyle and then being mad at me about walks is a little much, considering those guys don't throw a lot of strikes. That being said, I'm not making excuses, but like, it was all part of that. Our stuff was extremely, extremely good.
Yeah.
And the problem, again, like going back to the myths thing, I don't particularly enjoy watching pitchers walk a lot of guys and strike out a lot of guys and give up home. Like, that doesn't make me. I don't like that. It's just the case that stuff, like your stuff plus and your like how good your stuff is just more important than throwing strikes. It just is. Like, you can be mad at that. Fans can not like that. That's fine. It just is true, though, that like you have to develop stuff. As Spencer Strider loves to say, command without stuff is just batting practice. So we have to develop good stuff. And in Chase's case, he throws extremely hard, or pretty hard, and his stuff looks good. It's just that the shapes indicate that he's going to have significant problems at the next level. And I think that's what we've seen. And when you move away from a model-based approach, it's hard to help players like Chase Petty, or, it's why it can be a reason why a player like Connor Phillips takes so long to get to the big leagues. Because Phillips is an example of a player that is, if you look at every time he pitches in the big leagues, and you look at all those people like Pitch Profiler or any of these Twitter accounts, it's just like dark red, like all of his stuff. It's like, it was like that when we acquired him too, and so how you approach Phillips is, a little different than how you approach Petty, but like, it has to start, at least in my opinion, it has to start. And this led to the mutual departure of, I didn't want to work for an organization that didn't believe in it, and they didn't want to employ someone that didn't believe in what they believe in. And that, I think that's very fair. That doesn't mean that they're not going to have. They've had success with players like Abbott. They've had success with certain players like that I probably wouldn't have had as much success. But to be, at least in my opinion, it's very hard to develop pitchers if you don't take a model-based, KPI-based approach. And the evidence for that is everyone that is trained through Driveline and my results with the Reds. But that's the beauty of baseball. It's the beauty of chess. I'm wearing a chess hoodie now. It's a battle of ideas. That's the beautiful thing about chess, and it plays out on the biggest stage. And I don't think that the last chapter has been written about the Reds. I'm not saying that I'm right and they're wrong, and we probably agree more than we disagree, to be honest. But to go back, I've told the Reds fans this, and I love it. I still follow a ton of them, and it's just I really wish it worked out because, man, I loved working for Cincinnati, and it was such a blast.